beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States.
Breaking news. Donald Trump's Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security, and FEMA is holding up $115 million approved for North Carolina FEMA relief. What? Yes, Kristi Noem and Donald Trump are holding up $115 million that has been approved for FEMA relief in North Carolina, for removing debris, for repairing wastewater treatment facilities, for road repair, for bridges, for repairing schools, other buildings, and Hurricane Helene relief. What? Yes, they're holding it up. God only knows what's going on now. Who knows? Maybe there's no money. Maybe ICE took all the money, but it's up to Kristi Noem and Donald Trump, and the money is not there. The hurricane hit more than a year ago, and they can't get these funds out of the Trump administration. I thought Donald Trump promised all the North Carolinians and all you MAGA people in North Carolina that he was going to do a good job. Well, clearly the funds are being held up and he's not. Maybe it's the governor, it's a Democrat. Maybe every statewide official, one in North Carolina that's a Democrat with the exception of Donald Trump. Won't say anything fishy about that. Starlink and Elon Musk too, but these funds are being held up. Let me know what you think. Love you for my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, and my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs, and all my North Carolinians. They need the money, Donald Trump. Release it. It's been approved and funded by Congress.
I never want to hurt our farmers. Our farmers are great people. They keep us happy and healthy and fat.
Alright, look at this. Farmers in North Carolina are panicking. They voted for Trump thinking he had their back. But now, tariffs are crushing their crops. Prices are tanking. And guess what? The money that's supposed to help them held up, frozen, and gone. And this is the kicker. Trump himself said he doesn't want to hurt the farmers because they keep him and others healthy, healthier, and fat. Really? Because everything they worked for is being shouldered right in front of them. This isn't just about crops or tariffs. It's about the promises he made, the people he said he cared for, and the reality hitting these farmers like a ton of bricks. And not just numbers on the spreadsheet, families are losing businesses, produce is rotting, and communities that relied on these farmers are struggling too. Cuts to food banks, cuts to meal programs, all while Trump claims he helping them. So back her up because today we are diving deep into the North Carolina farmers who got preyed by Trump, the fallout of his policies, and the real cost of voting for someone who only looks out for himself. So let's go into the video and check it out. Let's do it.
A lot of North Carolina farmers are feeling very anxious right now about the possible return of Donald Trump to the presidency. The Trump administration was utterly disastrous to North Carolina's agriculture industry, mostly because of trade policy. Trump's trade policies cost North Carolina farmers over $2 billion and still counting. That's over $37,000 in direct cost to every single farming household in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the leading agricultural states in the entire country. North Carolina farmers export billions of dollars of poultry and hogs, corn, tobacco, wheat, soybeans, and a lot more every single year. And those exports keep our agricultural sector humming. Remember, first and foremost, farmers are business people. They need customers to buy their product. But on his very first day in office, Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a big trade deal negotiated by the Obama administration. The TPP was negotiated for years as a strategy to confront China, and it linked 12 Pacific nations comprising 40% of the global economy into a trade network with the United States at its center. The Farm Bureau actually published analysis showing that the TPP would increase farming income in America by billions of dollars annually. But Trump blew up that deal out of pure personal jealousy for Barack Obama, and as a result, North Carolina farmers not only lost access to all those new markets, but they actually lost market share overall because all those other nations proceeded without the United States. Again, according to the Farm Bureau, North Carolina farmers have lost out on $200 million of revenue every single year since 2017. And then it got worse. Trump is famous for starting a trade war with China when he imposed new tariffs on Chinese goods, and in retaliation, the Chinese imposed new tariffs on American goods, including American agriculture. For North Carolina's tobacco and pork and soybean growers in particular, China was a massively important customer, and Trump's trade war has cost them hundreds of millions of dollars in lost business. North Carolina is one of the leading states for a loss of independent family farms and farm consolidation, and one big reason for that is deliberate trade policy like Trump's that has made their business more difficult. If he's elected, Trump has promised to do two things that really freak out the farming community. One of those is imposing new tariffs and starting a whole new trade war, and the second is massively deporting all undocumented workers who happen to make up almost half of the agricultural labor force. If you want to see $15 a pound bacon, deport the people who actually produce it. Now, it's no secret that a lot of North Carolina farmers will probably still vote for Trump because partisanship rules everything now. But there is a ton of indigestion in farming circles right now about what Trump might do if he actually returns to office and what that could mean for the future of farming in North Carolina.
We're going to be losing a significant amount of food, nearly 6 million pounds. It's hard to imagine why these dollars were cut out of the budget.
You know, we spend an awful lot of money building these very fancy tanks and guns, but you can't eat a gun.
The USDA has cut $11 million in funding that food banks across North Carolina were expecting to receive in 2025. The money helps farmers supply fresh, local produce to food banks who then distribute it to people who can't afford groceries.
What we hear a lot about is the fiscal responsibility needs for the government. But what is fiscally responsible about taking food out of the hands of children who are in need and seniors and families in our community?
These peppers here come from a North Carolina farm. We have programs where the government money pays the farmers to grow produce for this food bank.
This investment has allowed the local supply chain to flourish. We are losing $2 million that we use to purchase that fresh, healthy food from small rural family farms each day.
Many of them have told us that without those resources, they may not be able to stay open.
So now not only we are going to impact people who use that food to, live, we're also impacting farmers.
I think about when I was a kid and I was facing food insecurity. To me, a food bank was the dimly lit church basement, full of some dusty expired cans of olives, and that's sort of like what you got, right? That's not what food banking is today. The vast majority of the food that we distribute, over 50%, is fresh produce, fresh dairy, eggs, protein, coming in bins like these directly from local farms.
Nearly 1.5 million North Carolinians don't have enough to eat, and food banks like the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina have been a lifeline. Now, as part of a $1 billion cut to local food purchasing assistance for food banks and schools across the United States, this aid is under threat.
There's 1 in 5 children who are facing hunger in our service area. Think about the child going to school alongside my child. Will they be able to learn and thrive? And it's not just about the food today, but the impact of the lack of this food today and 5 years and 10 years and 20 years down the road is going to be systemic.
Let your legislators know that we absolutely have to protect funding for these programs. It is funding for farms, it is funding for families facing hunger. We have to get involved.
Alright, let's break this down. It's not just tariffs crushing these farmers. Look at this. Trump's administration slashed $1 billion from food banks and meal programs. That's real money gone from communities that actually needs it. Farmers are losing their businesses, produce is rotting, and families can't even afford groceries. And the people making these decisions sitting pretty while everyone else pays the price. This is what happens when you put someone in office who only cares about keeping themselves and their bodies happy. These farmers literally helped get him elected, and now they're getting hit from all sides. And the irony, they voted for the same policies that are now destroying their livelihoods. FAFO, play the game, face the outcome. It's harsh lessons in blind loyalty and trusting the wrong promises. And honestly, watching it unfold is kind of poetic. Let's continue.
They're the largest tariffs in a century. They're larger than the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which many people say directly contributed to the Great Depression. Does that worry you?
Of course, those concerns are in the back of my mind, but as we've already alluded to, we're optimists. We do a lot of praying. We have a lot of faith, and our faith is in God and not in administration.
In agriculture, there's about 85% of what happens on my farm that is completely out of my control.
Yeah.
So I have to do the very best I can at managing that 15% of inputs and cost and labor and marketing and signing the best contract and doing the best job that I can, and leave the other 85% up to the good Lord. And that's all we can do, whether it's weather or disease or a hailstorm or a pandemic or administration. And we just weather the storm.
I mean, in North Carolina, every year we prepare for a major hurricane.
Right.
You know, every 3 or 4 years something drastic is going to happen.
Yeah.
So we're used and we're accustomed to that. Now it's just that much more challenging that we got to get through it and know how to and weather this economic cycle, this storm.
This is the thing I think that confounds people. You're talking about acts of God, acts of nature, hurricanes, rainstorms. This isn't that. This is a person in the White House making decisions. Does that frustrate you at all?
In the world now, we need certainty and we need consistency. And we, like Brandon said earlier, we've got to have trade. All of our markets are depressed right now. And the only way to really succumb to that is we've got to be sending stuff on boats going across the seas.
Yeah.
But I think that's also where part of not just, the president comes into play, but I think that's where also a lot of the cabinets of staff and all the people that he has, and also, all your other department agencies come into play and making sure we have those relationships.
Do you think the president has that?
I mean, I think he knows he's got people in place, and I'm hoping that that's what he can rely on.
I would rather face this trade war than a Category 4 or 5 storm coming off the coast of Wilmington straight towards it.
To all the dairy farmers and cattle ranchers that are losing your business, your family business, because of Trump's policies, I have a few things to say to you. Some glimmer of hope. First of all, I'm as shocked as you are that Trump doesn't care about poor working people. It surprises me that he would go with the rich cattlemen over the family cattlemen that have raised their cattle in dust and hard times and have struggled. I'm shocked that Trump wouldn't side with you and other working people. That surprises me. But I do have good news. A couple things for you. I know this is a hard time for you and your families, so I hope this gives you some hope. First of all, Kamala Harris is not president. I know that was an important thing for you, so congratulations. Second of all, I heard that all the produce farmers, they're hiring. They need vegetable pickers. So you and the family, round it up and head on out there. Good luck.
And here we are, at the reality check no one saw coming. Family losing their farms, their cattle, their entire livelihood. And this guy comes in telling them, congrats, Kamala's not president. Oh, and if you need work, there is a vegetable picker job waiting for you. Go apply. Unreal, right? This is the kind of tone deaf advice that makes you wonder how some people can stay loyal after everything. It's like a slap in the face while you're already on the ground. But this is what happens when loyalty to Trump outweighs common sense. These farmers were promised protection, stability, support, and instead they left scrambling for scraps. It's brutal reminder that votes have consequences, and for the ones still cringing to Trump, well, hope the vegetable picker job comes with overtime. So that's the narrative for North Carolina farmers who thought Trump had their back. Tariffs, frozen FEMA funds, cuts to food programs, and here they are, scrambling while the promises crumble. This isn't just numbers or politics, it's families losing businesses, communities struggling, and people realizing that blind loyalty has a cost. And yet, some of them are still ready to vote for the same person who is already played them. Unreal, right? It's a harsh lesson in FAFO. Fool around, face the outcome, you reap what you sow. And in this case, it's crops destroyed, livelihoods ruined, and faith in the system tested. So if you thought it was all hype, now you have seen it firsthand. Trump promises don't always land where they were supposed to. And the fallout, it hits the people who trusted him the most. This is what happens when the personal gain outweighs the well-being of those you claim you care about. And as these farmers learn the hard way, the consequences are real, painful, and unfortunately, full deserved. If you enjoyed watching this chaos unfold, hit that like button, subscribe for more real reaction, and share it too so everyone sees the fallout of voting for the wrong promises. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Hope to see you to the next one. I wish you love and peace. See you to the next video. Bye-bye.